Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Today, we're absolutely thrilled to be talking to the very talented cast that makes up the hit NBC show Found. We're going to kick things off by introducing you to the AAFCA members on the call today, starting with Dana Abercrombie in New York, New York, Nancy Green in Los Angeles, Chris Johnson in North Carolina, Jill Monroe in Los Angeles, Karan Nawaz Kelly in Charlottesville, Virginia, Reggie Pounder in Chicago, Chicago,
Yeah.
Samuel Leggett in Washington, D.C., Michael Sorrell in Washington, D.C., and I think we have Ruben on here as well. I don't see Ruben from South Florida. And of course, the very lovely Kim Singleton from New York, Carolyn Hines from Toronto, and Derek Dunn from Washington, D.C. We've got a full house here for you today. I'm going to let them do what they do so well, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
See you on the other side. Thank you.
I don't deserve what you did to me. You kidnapped a child.
And you kidnapped a man.
I'm dancing with the devil.
Hello, Gabrielle. I'm not in the basement anymore.
He escaped. It's my fault.
I have access to everyone and everything you love.
He did it. He took my sister.
I warned you not to end us.
We need to draw him out.
He believes that helping solve our cases is his purpose. He'll re-engage.
You're taking dangerous risks.
I'm dancing with the devil.
You're playing right into his hands.
I know how his mind works. I will find her and finish this. I'm coming for you.
Hello, everyone. Kim Singleton, considered a Blacklit podcast and television show out of New York City. And this first question is for Shanola. I mean, the psychological cat and mouse game that you play with Sir is just bananas. So Sir went from being a captive to a stalker from season 1 and season 2. Talk to us a little bit about the shift in the dynamics of the power between Gabby and Sir.
I think what was so fun about going into season 2, first of all, season 1, no one expected that Sir was going to escape season 1. Who does that? He could have literally stayed in the basement for another season or 2. So where do you go? Now he's out on the loose. And what's really great is you get to see the dynamic of how the power shift changes. 1 minute, I'm up. The next minute, Sir is up. It just goes back and forth. And I think that mental game that they've been playing with each other is heightened more now that it's sort of equal playing field and neither of them are behind are held captive right now. So the power shift changes. Right now, if you're caught up on season 2, Gabrielle has all the power because she refuses to go to the jail to see him, and it's driving him nuts. Will that change? Probably, because that's the dynamic they have.
Very well done. It keeps it interesting, and you never know what to expect. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Karan Nawaz Kelly with Karanism.com and Love Music Pleasure. And I want to talk to you about the drag because the fits are given life. I'd like to ask you about the creative team that's behind this massive, beautiful production. Not just the wardrobe, but also the art that's in the background and the music that accompanies this. Can you speak to what the creative team behind you has meant to you in this?
I think everything is about details, and especially when you get to present as a woman of color on network TV, how do we want to represent? For me, it was all about making sure I represented who I am, and that is a dark-skinned, natural dreadlock girl. There are no extensions. This is the hair. And to in some ways give people an education. Arlen, who's on the call, has Brother Twist. Is that right, Arlen? Is that how I say it? Not the Sister Twist?
Brother Locks.
And
I'm Brother Locks. I'm just a little bit smaller.
Brother Locks. And so it was for
Yeah.
both of us to make sure that we showcase what we do just on a daily, and that is versatile ways
Yep.
that we wear our hair and the artistry of that. That's also combined with wardrobe. If you look at Gabby's wardrobe, you think it's just vain. It's not. It's actually a part of the storytelling. It is the one thing that Gabrielle has control over. It is in a world where everything is chaotic, she knows that she can present well, even if she's not well on the inside. I would say Zeke feels the same way. He is the most stylish, wearing sweater. You know, he has everything in his bubble, but he makes sure he looks good in that bubble. And then you see the artwork that you see displayed in Gabby's office. A lot of it is people of color who have created that artwork. So representing that in the artistry of, we had the sister of our pilot director, Demaine Davis's sister's artwork, her actual artwork showcased in one of our earlier shows in season 1. So all of that. And then the music tells its own story. So we have this platform on NBC to really get down and dirty with the artistry of people of color, and we use it.
I love that. I also offer this to Gabrielle and Arlen. And full disclosure, I'm the first military veteran fellow at NBC. And to see how this production has evolved has been really beautiful. Gabrielle and Arlen, please speak to the art that's behind the work.
I'll say for me, especially even at Zeke's, it's texture. It's about making sure that everything that you see on screen is truly reflective of the people that you guys are meeting. Shanola said it best. It's intentional. It should feel close. You should want to know, oh, whose artwork is that? Who put it up there? And even when we walk into these scenes, I remember when we first got there and you walked into the spaces, it felt like, oh, wow, someone really took their time to curate this and make it not look like a set, but a place that people actually live and work, and there's tears and blood and sweat there. It's very much a home. The same way you would put together a home, I think that's the same attention and detail that went into everything that is found that you see on screen, from hair, wardrobe, makeup, the artwork, everything in between. Absolutely.
Yes, ditto to all of that. We have such a team, a giant team, from people who are in front of the camera to behind the camera, making everything happen. And there is just a synergy that has been created with this show from season 1 to season 2. We actually had a lot of people from season 1 come back for season 2 because of the dynamic family and community that we've created on set. And Shanola, thank you for leading that and leading with such, joy, because we're dealing with, very heavy topics on this show, obviously. And so to be able to have family and have support and to, sing and break out and dance, it just makes everybody excited to be there, excited to show up, and it carries through on to the screen.
Well, thank you guys so much for your performances. This show is so dramatic, and I'm so full of drama. I know you can't tell, but it's so full of drama, and it's so exquisite in the ways that you display art in all its forms. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Derek Dunn, Reviews and Done. I had a question for the entire cast. How long did it take you all to start taking Mark-Paul serious as Sir?
Gabrielle, why don't you start?
Okay. Day 1. Okay, so I have a funny story. When I first met Shanola is just so friendly, like everybody's family, like right off the bat, unless, whatever, but like everybody is family. So I was staying in a hotel where I had laundry, right? She's like, okay, girl, we're going to use your laundry. So literally the next morning she calls me and she's like, MP. And I didn't know him by MP. I didn't know, his nickname or whatever he goes by. You know, if she said Mark-Paul, I would have known. But I was like, oh, okay, sure. I don't know. All right. I'm just, yes, 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 whatever you want. Somebody can do the laundry at my place. And then I open the door, and how I am as an actor, and Shanola can attest to that, I get a little method sometimes. And, you know, like I just receive the different parts of the characters that I see in other people. So I open the door and I'm like, oh my God, she brought our captor to my house.
True.
And it was this like whole thing, but I'm like, okay. He was very nice. We sat down, we got to chat and talk to one another. I think as you know, as much of a presence he has such a kind heart and is such a giving actor. So it's been easy to work with him.
I have most of my encounters with everybody off camera, because you know Zeke. When Zeke is not on camera, I'm usually over there hanging out with everybody else, having a good time. I met MP when we first did the pilot at the gym, and we clicked at the gym talking about what we're doing to get in shape, this, that, or the other. But I was very, very, very I guess shell shocked a little bit because I grew up watching him on TV, and I'm a big TV person. Saturday morning, NBC, like TV, that was me. So I tried to keep it very, very cool. Even now, when I talk to him and I see him, I just kind of laugh and chuckle to myself, and I'm like, oh wow, this is so crazy. Like, I feel very fortunate that the people that I grew up watching on TV and I'm now getting a chance to work with as peers. So I'm soaking up as much as I can. I'm learning. He directed an episode, so I'm asking questions. I'm grateful for the journey, man. He's a special person.
Well, my experience was completely different. I can't stand him. And all I heard from these things is that he's very, very old and people grew up watching him in posters and stuff. So how did I end up on screen with him? I think we need to talk to somebody. No, the truth about Mark Paul is that he's a giver both on and off screen. And it didn't take me long to get over like the blonde tips, Zach Morris a factor. Some people will jump him right from Zach Morris to Found, but he's had a large body of work in between that time. So I was just excited to see how he was going to really embody this character. And from Hello in the basement first day, I was like, there you go. And it felt right. So it didn't take me long to sort of get past what I liked what's the other guy? Mario Lopez. I didn't care about Zach. So
Thank you.
thank you.
So this question is for all three of the cast. So I want to talk about space and vicarious joy. So one of the main differences between season 2 and season 1 is space, the space that the characters inhabit. For Lacey and Zeke, they're finally inhabiting the same space. You know, she's living with him. She's getting to see how Zeke works behind the camera, so to speak, of the computer. But they're and she's the only person who's really getting to know Zeke, you know, with everything that's happening. Whereas this is the first time she's separated from Lacey. Before, she was in the office with Gabby. You know, Gabby and Lacey were able to inhabit that same space. And I think that there's a tension that creates, because now Gabby doesn't know where Lacey is at all times. She doesn't know how she is at all times. She can't read her visually to see how she's doing. And I want to talk about how these characters are having to inhabit new spaces together as friends and as co-workers, but also how they're having to find joy vicariously through each other and through the cases that they're able to solve, because they have so much trauma. Oh my God, trauma, but they have to be able to find moments of joy, and it's usually through other people. So I want you to talk about space and joy and how these characters have to learn new dynamics of what that means for them individually. We can start with you. We'll start with Arlen, Gabby, and then Shanola.
I'll say, in regards to Zeke and his space and joy, Zeke is very, very happy to have somebody in his space that he has obviously grown to love and care about. And he's been working with for a while now, but now having someone in the space, especially after what Zeke's been going through from season 2, it's nice. me as an actor, it's wonderful to actually be working with people real time with real emotions, tangible. And so both myself and Zeke, I could say that there's a disconnect that you definitely do feel as much as you want to be part of what's happening on the other side of the camera. When someone does come into your space that brings something special like Lacey does for Zeke, she brings him a lot of joy and friendship, and that's where a lot of their romantic sparks are starting to fly. You know, it's magical. It's good to have that space by yourself, but it's amazing to have it with the people that you care about. And in regards to working with the rest of the cast, that's just it's the best entree on TV that I can imagine. I think we play off of each other well. We respect one another. We have fun together, and then when it's time to work, we get down to it. And I wouldn't. I would stack us against anybody else on TV.
Boom.
Love it. Well, we're going to get him out of the house. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to manifest that for season 3. We're going to get Zeke out of the house so he can have more time with us and more fun and all the things. I love that you said finally. You like finally Zeke and Lacey are in that space together. Because there's been something brewing for a while that they had not yet seen. And now, given you watched the last episode, if not, spoiler alert, they've finally decided to cross the threshold, unintended. I think for Lacey, having, been kidnapped again and re-traumatized, finding herself is so important at this time. But of course, she needs to be held and needs the safety of her team and her family. And I think right now, the safest place that she feels is with Zeke. And not that, she doesn't love Gabby and that's not still her sister. Of course she is. Like, she's everything to her. But she's found that she has to find herself apart from Gabby, that she has idolized Gabby and that's been her hero and her sister and everything. But now she's like, where is my voice? Where am I now that I have proven to myself as well that I could beat my boogeyman, so to speak, that I could rescue myself as well. And Lacey finds her joy through like looking to the light and dancing every time. I mean, thank God we find so many people, right? Thank God. But like Lacey wants everyone to just, look on the bright side, to love one another and to dance whenever possible because we deal with so much heavy stuff.
And that's what Lacey's character is. Lacey is the light, much like Gabrielle is. And she's got this purity to her, much like Gabrielle has. So the theme of space, I actually hadn't thought about until you asked the question, but it is a through line in our show. We start off season 2 where Lacey wasn't even in our space because Sir had her. That was a very different dynamic for the team who was already struggling, and having that time apart and then coming together again, but in this new way of where it was so intimate at one point in season 1, and then that intimacy, because the trust was broken, they were in the same room but still so far away from each other trying to solve the cases. And so there was a space thing there. I think Lacey needed to take her space from Gabby. And the reason why is because it's time for her to come into her own. And that's where Zeke comes in, and Zeke allowing her into his space is also a need for him to have that sort of intimacy that's away from the group, but also in his space. So there are a lot of themes like that. And also even right now, Gabby taking space away from Sir and refusing to see him. That's huge. Jamie not wanting to go to the space where we think he grew up with Margaret. So it is a through line in our show. Don and his husband in a separation. There's space there as well. So it really is something that is a central theme in our show, and something, quite honestly, that I never thought about it until you presented the question. So thank you, Smarty.
You're welcome. And you know what? Maybe you guys should have a party at Zeke's place. How about
Yes,
that?
well, we do karaoke
Another
there. You know,
one.
Lacey's always
Another
good for a
A
karaoke.
no, not just a karaoke, a sleepover. Have a slumber party and have like a good old
Everybody.
party and like
I
everyone
don't know
shares
whether
Let's
stories.
see
Gary's
what's
gonna sleep on the
upstairs.
couch.
Let's see what's upstairs at Zeke's.
Please, I want to
What is
know what's
upstairs?
That's
upstairs.
what I was gonna say.
Hi, I'm Michael Sowell from Washington, D.C., from Sowell Media. First of all, congratulations with this show. This is a collective cast, diverse cast. You know, the melanin is popping, the locks are popping, and everything. But there was a comment that you made, Shanola, in a previous interview saying that this is not just a Black show, that this topic, the topic that the show covers, that it covers a whole range that affects other communities, even though it has a very diverse cast in representing different stories. That is a big issue right now, really, in our nation. That and it brings up conversation. And to with this show from season one going to season two, the biggest thing that this show brings is conversation. And I want to ask, as a performer, is that as you're leading this entire cast, what is the biggest conversation that you want that going into season two to actually talk about the people that this show is serving, which is people are not being found in terms of this topic of the show?
Well, it's not a Black show. There is a
Right.
Black lead on the show, but anyone could do the job of a PR specialist. So it's not a Black show. It is a show that shows trauma and healing and all different types of people. And the difference is that we just haven't seen the all different types of people going through the trauma and the healing process. And then we get to our purpose, which is finding those that no one else is looking for. So that is the elderly, that is sex workers, that is transgender community, that is all of those that don't get the recognition. So the conversation that I wanted or want to happen in season two is already happening. You already start to see the media the media feeds on Instagram highlighting when people in those underserved communities go missing. We have a different space now to do that, right, with social media, but people are paying closer attention. People are also aware. So in our community, this is a conversation that we've always known, but now it's more of a widespread conversation. And I think that that's really, and we've made it palatable for them because there's the thriller aspect of our show and the cat and mouse. So we deal with so many themes that are not by any color. It's about circumstance, right? The circumstance of going through something traumatic, being in a and wanting the humanness of wanting to find everyone and saying that everyone deserves to be found. That's what it is. So it's not a Black show, it is a human show.
And I just want to say to all three of you, just thank you for just having powerful performances that hopefully that we can get to more seasons of this amazing show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you as
Thank you.
well.
Thank you for your question. Thank you so much.
Hi, Dana Abercrombie, the Coalition. My question is for Shanola. I'm slightly concerned when it comes to Gabby and her relationship with Margaret, especially involving Jamie, who is now returned. We don't know if that's Jamie or someone posing as Jamie. Can you talk about kind of balancing wanting to get out her concerns, but also respecting the process that Margaret is going through and letting everything naturally take its course?
Well, that's the one thing I think Gabby has learned, not only through what is just transpired, but also the non-judgment factor of what we do at M&A is very, very real. And it starts with Gabby having said that everyone has to go through their process. There's no timeline on healing, but she's protective of everyone on her team. So of course, at the end of the day, she's seen Margaret at her lowest. And the audience has also gotten to see Margaret at an even lower point when she went to the beach. So the protection is very, very real. I think that she's treading lightly, but also having respect because their relationship, the relationship that Gabby has with everyone, with the exception of Don, is very fragile because of what they've all just went through. So I think that this is new territory for Gabby, but she's also going to not let Margaret get hurt, even if that means that Margaret's going to get angry with her. Sometimes you want to protect your friends and they mad at you, but you like, dude is not right for you. Okay. I'm just going to tell you it's not going to happen. So there is a balance that happens, but ultimately she's going to protect Margaret and everyone at M&A at all costs.
And then also for kind of Gabby and Arlen, I was wondering for your characters to kind of chime in on that as well, because it affects not just her, it affects everyone that's working with her.
I think Zeke and the rest of the team are just trying to be as supportive as possible. We know, especially from the cases that we've solved and the things that we've experienced, that there are a lot of nuances when someone gets found. It's not just, hooray, they're here, everything's okay. It's what happens next. Where were they? Are they the same person? And with respect to our situation with Jamie, we don't know if he's really Jamie or not. People are very sick in the head with how they, play games with people that are going through trauma. In regard to Margaret, she's family. And we want to make sure that she is protected at all costs. And I think we're all going to try to be there as much as we can be. I think she and I had a scene together, Kelly and I, who plays Margaret. And one of the things we spoke about is, you're a good mother. Regardless of whatever this shakes out to be, you are a good mother. And that's a theme throughout the show itself, where we're all reminding each other, you're a good person. Gabby, you're a good person, regardless of what Sir says or how you solve these cases. Don tells her, you're still you. And so I think that's kind of what we're aiming to do with in regards to Margaret.
I love that. I love that you say that, because that's the human aspect, right? Like, even though this woman made a grave mistake that is very simple, that mothers make all the time, that cost her child, and she's having to deal with that trauma and process it. So when this boy, this grown man or man boy shows up, it's like, is this him? And for Lacey, she wants to be happy for Margaret. We all want to be happy for Margaret. We want it to be Jamie, but we know that it's not that simple. And I mean, Lacey would love for it to be that simple, but we know that it's not that simple. And we also have Sir out there who's capable of anything. And we already know that he has another accomplice. And then, as you've seen in the recent episodes, Jamie goes to visit Sir. So what is really going on here? And so we're towing the line with all these questions of, is it going to be him? Is Margaret well? What's going to happen to Margaret if this isn't Jamie? So the team is taking care of being sensitive while being, skeptical of what's going on. And also, I believe, taking Gabby's lead on what that is. I feel like Gabby has the insight that we all glean from. So if Gabby's like, all right, we're going to take him along this case. Okay, we'll let him in a little bit. We're going to hold him back. Okay, we'll put him over there. So we're trusting that leadership, and that we'll be able to survive as a family, no matter what happens.
Hi, all. I'm Reggie Ponder, the real critic out of Chicago. Yay, Chicago.
I love Chicago.
Yeah, we got a University of Illinois person in the house too. So thank you so much, Shanola. Appreciate that. Before I get to my question, I just want to say to you, Gabrielle, that you said before maybe he'll cross the threshold. Zeke crossed the threshold because he was not gonna let you go. Brother was like, nah, I'm not gonna let it just keep walking up them steps. So we see you. My question, Shanola, is for you, is that I read that at one point in time you were a bartender. And so if you were going to make a cocktail for that would represent the show, what ingredients would be in that cocktail and why?
It would be the Long Island iced tea, because it has everything in it. It has every kind of alcohol, and it's all in one cocktail. So the reason why is because we represent so many different groups of people. And when you mix it together for the good of finding the underserved, for the good of helping people and hopefully fans heal from their own traumas. It doesn't matter what you look like. You have Margaret who's healing, you have Don who's healing, you have Zeke who's healing, you have Lacey who's healing, you have Gabby who's healing. And in many ways, you have Sir who has his own mental stuff going on. So the Long Island iced tea would sort of represent the cocktail I would make. Although you don't get the shake with the Long Island iced tea. And I was known for my bartender shake, shakety shake. But that's a martini, but that's not that show.
So that brings me to just a little second part. So what would be that cocktail that would represent you and why? Your character.
I think that where Gabby is now and where she's been, she would just be a straight up martini, dry, because she's been so broken and she doesn't have much more in her, that it has to just be a nice simple. So you get the shake, right? Pop, 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 with the ice chips on top, which would be the M&A family around her, but a dry martini underneath.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. You didn't know I had my drinks like that. Don't try to test my bartending skills. By the way, I have a whole award for being the best bartender at BJ's. Don't play.
My bad, my bad. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. That was fun.
And both of those are very strong drinks.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Nancy. And
Hi.
hi, my question is for all of you, but really focusing on Shanola's character, Gabrielle. I was talking to someone about the dynamic there between you and Evans, and how it's kind of this weird thing. Initially how you have him in the basement, and you're using him for your cases. And I wanted to know, from your perspective, for all of you, how do you kind of view these things that your characters do versus how you kind of navigate in your real life? I'm always curious about how you would respond if these situations kind of happen to you in real life. So can
Well,
you
I'm
go
not going to
ahead?
put someone in my basement.
Right.
I think I draw the line. You come for my kids, you come for my husband, you're going to get it. But not, or my daddy, or my sisters, or my best friend. You know what? Any of the people, no, but no, but I'm not going to put anyone in my basement. But, I believe that human beings' minds are very, very fragile. And you don't know what you're going to do until you know what you're going to do. And I believe in what I used to call OEM moments, over the edge moments, where you just black out and lose it. And generally it happens if you're in a relationship and you're in this big fight with the person that you love so hard, and you're younger, hopefully let it be in your younger days, and you just start slashing tires. Nobody did that? I'm just kidding. I haven't ever. It's car seats. But I just really think that the difference between Gabby and I is she was so hurt by her father's death and that kind of pain, and having that year of her life taken away from her father, that she just lost it. And I think human beings, all of us, have the ability to just lose it. Arlen?
I will say that I think on our show, God bless NK and the writers, because they've made all of our characters extremely brave, braver than I think a lot of people would probably be in real life, and people are a lot more selfish. Our characters are very selfless with their time and their energy, even though they've been broken. And I'll say in real life, my family actually went through something that was very traumatic, and you kind of kick in a gear of what happens next. We very much became Zeke, where we were trying to track down information, calling any and every company that we could to, and demanding that you give us the information. I don't care what that rule says. Tell me tell me what's going on. And then at the same time, while this was happening in real life, we said nothing to my mom because we wanted to protect her just in case anything bad was happening. We didn't want her to panic just yet. And then there was a time in a quick window where things got very, very bleak. And it felt like, oh my gosh, is this how we find out? Is this how we lose our family member? And it was very, very scary and quiet. There was no speaking in the car, just driving. And then just like on our show, God bless us, we got the call that everything was okay, that she was found. And it was a burst of emotions. And even when we told my mom, she still couldn't grab it. She was like, oh, okay, but everybody's okay, right? And we were like, and this is why we didn't tell her anything, because she wouldn't have taken it the right way. So in real life, you hope that you'd be as brave as the characters on our show. And yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, that's
Wow. Oh my gosh, you took me on a journey with that, Arlen.
Oh yeah, it was scary.
Wow. Yes. I feel like as far as Lacey goes, I feel that Lacey brings out the best parts of me. Um, the inspirational like leader when she needs to be to encourage her friends, leaning into the light instead of darkness. Even though, like I feel like the timing of everything, I think I would need to take a little bit more time, but Lacey just like jumps and goes and knows that that time is, valuable and we can't waste it. And I think too, oh, Lacey and her capacity for information is incredible because to be a law student and to be working these cases and have no sleep it's crazy. Okay. But we are on NBC television. We can do it all. And damn it, she does. So I love my character. I love the way that NK created Lacey and from all the writers pulling from themselves and what she's become from the moment that I read the scripts. All of these characters stood off of the page for me, for all of us. They're just so dynamic, and the communion that they have with one another is really, really special. And I desire to have that in all of my relationships. And I think we found a lot of that with each other.
nice, nice. Thank you so much. Those were beautiful answers, everyone, and great show. And congratulations.
What if I would have said I'm just like her and I got a man in my basement right now? How would this sound?
I'm like, what you need? What you need? I actually
That's
do
right,
think that I
sister.
would have been like okay with Gabby doing it. Lacey would have been like, all right, yeah, why didn't you tell me? I would have came.
Yeah, let me in on it.
I know why. I get it.
Chris Johnson with the Caravision Broadcast Network here in North Carolina.
I
And,
love North Carolina and I love your place. Your loft is stunning.
Thank you so much. Just wanted to be a little color coordinated back there.
I love it.
Thank you so much. Quick question for each one of you, same question. So the series tackles, important themes of missing persons and the people left behind, So what drew each of you to this project? We can start with you, Arlen.
What drew me to the project was the amazing script. I remember reading the script and getting to that last page, putting it down, calling my manager and saying when, how, and where. It was special. You could tell it was special. And I had no idea that I was going to get the opportunity to work with such an amazing group and cast and team. So now it's even more special. But honestly, the layers and the texture of the characters, man, as an actor, you look for places to be and express yourself. And when I finished reading the pilot and, got a glimpse of who Zeke was, I would say that I was happy and ready to, do what it takes to get this job. So yeah, I was very excited.
I was like, who are these people? When I was reading the script, I was just so interested in each and every character. And I was like, one, this Gabby Mosley is a badass. And then I found out Shanola was playing. I'm like, okay, how do I get in here? And then finally, when I got to the end of the script, and I loved reading Lacey too. And I loved how one of the things that caught me was how she came in and she inspired Gabby. And that's something that I desire to do in my personal life, and to have a character that portrays that as well is like, oh my gosh, it's the dream. And she's a law student. That was one of the things that I wanted to explore as an actress, as well as being a detective and, and being a lawyer. So I'm like, here it is, all right here. I didn't even realize that actually until later on. I was like, oh, I'm doing. But then when I got through the script and to the end, I literally screamed and ran through my apartment because I was like, what? I'm like, she keeping him in the basement? I'm like, okay, Gabby Mosley just went to a whole other level. And I just thought it just is fun. It is about something that matters. And I wanted to put my artistry into things that have purpose. And this has all of that, as well as dynamic and interesting characters and places to go and play with.
Well, much to Gabrielle, same. because I had the luxury of being 11 seasons on a show, I was reading a lot of scripts and trying to figure out what the next move was going to be for me in my career. One was never just be an actor for hire again. I knew I wanted to do something where I would play the producer role as well, not play the role, be a producer. And I wanted to do something with relevance, which is just this big blanketed statement. And I didn't know what it meant. I certainly didn't know that it meant found, but I do believe in, for me, it's God, for other people, it's the universe of putting whatever it is out there and then watching it materialize, which is when found was on my lap. I met with NK to direct actually on one of her other shows. And during that time, I had no idea she was looking at me as Gabby Mosley, and she slid the script. I had an overall deal with NBC, so I was getting a lot of scripts from them, who she was with. I read the script. I was like, she's bad. She fights with heels on. That was my choice. And she can dress. And then, oh my goodness, there's a man in the basement. Let's get to it. But most importantly, it did exactly what I wanted, which was a show with relevance. And I always say now is the time for found. We've been speaking about these topics, especially in our communities, for such a long time. To bring it to light on network TV, it felt just exactly right. And it turns out that it was.
Thank you all so much and continued success to each of you.
Thank you. I like your dimple. I see it. Don't try to hide
Thank
that dimple. Got to let it out. Yeah.
Try to hide it, Jeff.
Yeah, but I North Carolina.
He smiled extra big, Shanola.
Yeah, he's cute. You see, that's a good dimple.
Jill Monroe, KBLA Talk 1580. So as we mentioned, there's a different sort of design happening with Sir in a new position. Will we see the relationship stress test? Because they haven't seen them in this position with Sir in a different position for them as a unit. So will their relationships with each other be stress tests this season?
Let's talk about the artwork first of all. My gosh, that is stunning. Talking about art, I mean, I need that piece on that is gorgeous. The stress test, I think it's been throughout the entire season. Really, the dynamic of neither one of them, and you see Gabby say it when they meet up in the school, and she says, neither one of us are held captive. We have no chains between us. So that cat and mouse and that kind of those tests have been happening throughout. And now it's at a build, but also a separation because Gabby is refusing to see him. Is there going to be more encounters? Yeah, there has to be. There's going to be something that draws them back together. But it doesn't end with any resolve. That I can tell you, which is why we need a season 3 NBC, because the test and the stress and all of it continues throughout season 2.
Hey everybody, my name is Samuel Leggett with JVS Media Productions. Thank you guys so much for talking with us. One of the things I really wanted to kind of break open is the fact that you guys are addressing trauma. That is something that we've all been dealing with, and specifically even more so the past 5 years more than anything. But I wanted you guys to kind of break open for you guys personally as actors. What was one of your most challenging scenes to do? But why do you feel like at the same time it was really gratifying and may have opened up doors for other people to be able to get through it as well? If you guys can pinpoint a certain scene.
Gabrielle?
Yes, one scene that just pops up to mind because I feel like there's quite a few this season, especially. But the scene where Lacey's in the office with Gabby, and Gabby's, posing to Lacey that if she would be ready to take over the firm in her absence, if that should be the case. And she's been so good at plastering on a smile and digging into that, positivity and that beautiful part of Lacey that we love, that helps her to heal. But in that moment, she's faced with like, I'm not okay. I'm not ready. I don't know where I'm at right now. And I think, when COVID and everything stopped, people really got to face themselves. But now that we're back in the, the run of things and of life, we can kind of forget to check in sometimes. And especially when something bad happens, we sort of want to rush through the healing process, and it needs to do its own thing. And so that moment for me was very, very important to be seen, that it's okay to not be okay. And that, admitting that you'll find support. So I love that moment for Lacey. Yeah.
I'll say for Zeke, excuse me, especially with his agoraphobia, I think was when Zeke got his tech taken away from him. Having your eyes and ears, or your bridge to what makes you, what allows you to reach out to your family and speak and be and live your life, having that bridge taken away was very, very traumatic for Zeke. And it really spoke to me because I think in general, people lose jobs, people lose opportunities, people lose a lot of things because of choices or situations or circumstance, and you don't know what that bridge really means to them. You don't know how that's going to shake up their world. So having Zeke's world break apart like that, and see him burst at the seams, trying to figure out, what do I do next? How do I still exist? It was very reflective to me of a human condition that is not just agoraphobia, but just people in general. When things get taken away from us, and that bridge isn't there, you got to really understand that there's a person on the other side of that. So if you get the opportunity to bridge that, what I'm saying, and build a bridge for somebody in any way, shape, or form, I say absolutely do it, because life is not easy for anybody.
And I also gotta tell Arlen's episode when he's in the hospital because of his agoraphobia, when he was in that corner and couldn't even look at Gabby because they were on the outs. It was it just touched my heart, and that was such a good moment. It's gratifying for me to watch as an actor to see Arlen go there and do it so beautifully. That's just sidebar. For Gabby Mosley, we've had a lot of things, haven't we, that have gone emotional. I think the biggest one for me as an actor was going back in time, doing episode 212, where we figured out exactly how she got Sir in the basement and why, the fragility of where she was, the brokenness of the childlike quality that it was to just lose her daddy, even as a grown woman, and to have rage with the hurt. All of those things were, you have to really, really go there. The gratification for me was, as an actor, I got to understand my character more because we did get to go back, and oftentimes we pick up the characters where they are and just move from there. So to be able to go back, it helped me to gain a great understanding. And quite honestly, I'm a stage actor. I don't know if you can tell by how crazy and loud I am. That's really what I love. And so just to be in a character-driven two-person scene, just bop, 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 bang, it was quite gratifying for me. And also to be with someone like Mark-Paul, who knows how to serve it right back.
No, thank you guys so much. Here's to another season. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. Oh,
Thank you.
you know something we don't know? Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Sierra, get on this call.
Hi, my name is Ruben Peralta from Miami.
Miami.
Yes.
Hi.
It is so expensive there now, by the way.
Tell me about it. I know. I
I
live
don't
here.
understand how y'all even go out to eat now. What is happening?
But the funny part, they open a restaurant every freaking week here.
I don't know how
Oh,
to tell
wow.
it. Okay, that's not wrong.
There's a new restaurant every week.
Jeez.
I don't understand how people can afford this lifestyle. I love to cook at home. One of the things that I love about everything about Found, it's with so many options that we have with streaming services, with every new show, just like restaurants opening every week. Found has one of the highest viewers percentage in season 1. How's it feels going now, season 2, feeling the people will be watching this? It's a bigger responsibility. How do you guys feel as a creator, as an actor?
Well, I feel great. It's really hard to do television right now. There's so many outlets. It's really hard to do network television right now. What we could bank on, what we were hoping for, is that people, it would resonate, the stories that we were telling. It would resonate with our community, with humanity, and it has. And that's something we are all very, very proud of, as well as giving them thrillers. To see a procedural done in this way, hasn't been done before, to have the aspect of not just solving cases and the twists and turns of the case of the week of these relevant stories, but to have it be, sorry, lost me, I'm back. Did I come back? Yes, I'm back. But to
You're
have
good.
it be to also then be able to follow the journey of a cat and mouse with Gabby and Sir, all of those things, I think there was a thirst for a procedural to be done and differently. And I think that we have fulfilled that thirst. Giving them something to drink.
Can I say something to
Of
that?
course, of course.
I think you guys spoke on like restaurants and all that. I think with our show, the best way to say it is like every week, you know what I'm saying? We are preparing something very, very special. I think our writers, producers, actors, we show up and we're seasoning that thing to the point that, you know, every week is different. It's not going to get old. It's not going to get stale. So yeah, come back every week for something different, you know, absolutely.
A buffet, honey.
The buffet. All
How are
you
you,
can
Gabrielle?
eat. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. How do you feel that the show is getting bigger? I don't know if you guys expected it's gonna be that big.
I mean, I feel blessed, you know, as Shanola was saying, there's so many series out there, but just the industry has shifted and changed since the strike to have work, to be a working actor. You have a 22 episode show. Like that's how much NBC believes in us. That's how much people have been tuning in for these stories, and to know that these stories are getting out there to that like magnitude it's a blessing. It's such a blessing.
One of the things that I love it's this mixture of Silence of the Lambs, when you get the mind of a kidnapper or a person who do that. Because here in Florida, every time that I travel north, I see these huge walls of people that's been missing, and for me, it's always this mystery of what happened to these people, what happened
Yeah.
to this person. There's families behind everything
Yeah.
suffering this, and I think the show shows something of those feelings because
Yes.
Shanola, your character is has a trauma, but also live with the trauma, helping people. So I think it's a show that we needed.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. I feel
Welcome.
the same. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Janella, Gabrielle, and Arlen, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Gil.
On behalf of the
No, this
World's
is
largest
wonderful.
group of Black film and TV critics, we appreciate you. We're going to keep watching you and uplifting you. Thank you for your time again, and thank you for watching AAFCA Roundtables. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Pleasure. You do the
much.
same.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was
Bye.
great.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, everybody.